The modern paradigm within which we perceive space in the context of its dimensions always pushes the scientific community towards dimensional riot in cases when the equations of Newfoundland theories show no small persistence in any reduction of them. Hence, the appearance in science of 5, 10, and even 28-dimensional space is absurd, and this is logical in the context of perceiving dimensions as certain degrees of freedom borrowed from mechanics. And this logic is quite obvious if we look at least once in our lives at a plane that formed for us an image of a planar limitation of a spatial formation which we call 2D. But this same logic magically transforms into absurdity if we conduct at least a simple experiment with dimensions. Remove one dimension from a three-dimensional figure and you will see that it will not become flat, but simply disappear from our three-dimensional space due to the fact that zero dimension cannot be represented in our world at all. A plane is just absurd to D, its emulation. Nevertheless, we have managed to build in it a number of phantasmagoric theories using multidimensional solutions. The development of our experiment can go along the path of representing a certain four-dimensional object observed directly in our world or in 3D. This is impossible, you will say. Why not? I will answer. This is more than possible, taking into account the fact that the three usual dimensions inherent in three-dimensional object in a four-dimensional figure remain unchanged. In other words, we can quite well observe such four-dimensional objects in our usual space as three-dimensional figures. Well, maybe not as quite normal figures, because the fourth dimension of this object will impose certain specific limitation on them, which we, three-dimensional objects, are deprived of in our world. Dimensions are actually connections or limitation imposed on us by our embeddedness in these spatial formations. More dimensions, more connections, and therefore more limitations that we experience in space. And since we do not observe neighbors in our world that are not quite adequate from the point of view of spatial limitations, then it would be at least irresponsible to declare the existence of 4D, taking into account what has been said about what number of space could we reasonably speaking about. Based on the above, there may coexist 7 such spatial formations nested within one another: 3 one-dimensional, 3 two-dimensional, and 1 our own 3-dimensional space.